This is the second film in our Animation Month slate for 2026, but the last one we're actually recording.
Right, and?
I've noticed something.
Go on.
Your plot summary for Frozen was 335 words long.
So what?
Your plot summaries for the other two were 237 words and 289 words.
Guilty as charged.
Your plot summary for Heavy Metal is 1,603 words, which is almost twice the other three combined.
Great, you can do basic math, George. What's your point?
Would it be safe to say that if an animator wanted to get Joe Dixon to write prolifically about their film, they should make sure to include lots of gratuitous cartoon nudity?
Yes, that is absolutely the case. And after more than a decade of friendship, I don't know why you needed word counts to reach that conclusion. Welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast with over movies and asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romaka, and today we're discussing Heavy Metal from 1981 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the cabbies, statesmen, and Amazonian warriors in your life, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
Now, George, take us back to 1981.
And this is the way it was.
There's not much in the way of historical context for a cartoon about a malevolent space rock. After all, humanity has never needed an external influence before stooping to unmitigated evil.
True that.
But space rock and unmitigated evil sounded like fun search terms. So we'll talk about those, and a story about cabbies, because one of those is in the movie too, so why not?
Why not?
Joe, give us our first headline from the VIP of Vallejo, California.
Video game claim fails.
Like every other enterprise in the entertainment industry, video game companies have to defend their copyrights or risk losing income. But sometimes you can't, because your idea just isn't that original. So when Maryland company Amusement World created the game Meteors to supply to video arcades, Atari, who created Asteroids a year prior, sued on the grounds that their intellectual property was being stolen. I'm going to read from the article.
Okie dokie.
Judge Young pointed out there are a number of similarities in the design features of the two games, but, he added, most of the similarities are inevitable because in both games players try to destroy space rocks by firing bursts of light from a spaceship. Listing the resemblance between the two games, Young wrote, there are certain forms of expression that one must necessarily use in designing a video game in which a player fights his way through space rocks and enemy spaceships. It seems clear that Amusement World based their game on Atari's copyrighted game, but copyright laws do not prohibit this, he wrote.
Okay. I guess it doesn't.
Yeah, there's definitely nuance to copyright. Like, we do a movie review podcast. We are not the first movie review podcast.
We are not.
Nor were we the first podcast. So, whoever did the first podcast, and Apple actually had a whole fuckery with the whole word podcast for a while. Like,
did they?
Yeah, they wanted to sue people for using it or something because they actually originated the term. That's because you first got them on like iPods. Like, yeah, Leo Laporte and the whole This Week in Tech cadre of podcasts for a long time called themselves netcasts just to get around that. But yeah, so nobody can sue us for, because we're doing a movie review podcast where other people have done movie review podcasts, because we do a different movie review podcast style than anybody else does, as far as I know.
And we do parodies.
Of songs.
The movies. Yeah, songs of the movies, and sometimes even of the scenes in the movie.
Yep. So, video games are often blamed for children's behavior. The next down on that list is, or at least was, TV. Joe, give us our second headline from the Beaumont Journal of Beaumont, Texas.
PTA's list misses point.
This op-ed first talks about how national-level PTA would watch the first month of fall programming and then judge which shows were or weren't family-friendly. The criteria were contribution to the quality of life in America.
Sorry. Is that the cartoon's job?
Well, this isn't cartoons. This is television.
Well, I'm sorry, television in general.
Yeah. Lack of offensive content, meaning offensive sex, violence, language, sexual, racial, or ageist stereotypes, and artistic and technical merit.
I just want to break in real quick here and say, I think a contribution to the quality of life in America is healthcare, housing, that sort of thing. I mean, if you want to judge something, not what's on the TV.
Yeah. Well, in 1981, the PTA put its seal of approval on Those Amazing Animals, Little House on the Prairie, 60 Minutes, Lou Grant, The Waltons, NBC Magazine, 2020, Disney's Wonderful World, 8 is Enough, and CBS Specials.
Do you need to know about any of those? Because I know about each and every one, because I'm old.
Well, we're going to talk about next up is what the poorest in overall quality were judged to be. It's a Living, Vegas with a $sign where the S is, ABC Movies, Soap, NBC Movies, Flow, FLO, Ladies Man, Three's Company, Fantasy Island, and The Jeffersons.
Okay.
I want to know why 2 black cast shows were in the poorest in overall quality by the national level PTA. I wonder what the racial makeup of that particular group was.
That's an interesting point. But also, what's the other black show? The Jeffersons and what? What do you think is the other?
Oh, fuck. I was thinking, I read Three's Company and thought of, fucking, it's not. It's the one with Jack, what's his face? What was the one with Gary Oldman?
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. I don't know why I saw Three's Company and was thinking Different Strokes.
Wow, 2 very different shows.
They are, but like I guess I saw The Jeffersons and then assumed I would also find that other TV show I know about. So yeah, one black cast one. I could kind of see where they're going with Three's Company.
Yeah, I mean, Three's Company's controversy, not only was it, this man is living with these 2 women, he was also supposed to be gay. And, that's verboten to begin with the PTA at that time, probably today as well. Well, maybe not as much today.
I mean, I can see why the panel of people that I'm imagining were making these decisions would put that there, along with the Jeffersons, when one of their criteria is, not having racial stereotypes. I don't know that the Jeffersons was racial stereotypes. In fact, I think it was trying to alter the stereotype.
I don't know what their deal was with the Jeffersons, but I can tell you it was probably because Mr. Jefferson, George Jefferson, was basically a black Republican version of Archie Bunker. Back when a black Republican was someone who was didn't hate being black, like a Clarence Thomas or something. That's the weird thing. George Jefferson was very pro-black, but he was to an obnoxious degree where he was like, just hated white people and everything white and blah, 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 while he lived in this all-white building, which never made any sense. But just obviously he was there as a sitcom character, so he had someone to yell at. If he just surrounded by black people, it wouldn't be as interesting as a sitcom. But anyway, yeah, so I think it's just the racial politics of Mr. Jefferson. I presume at this point, what year? 1981, so I guess All in the Family is off. But Archie Bunker's Place would still be on, so I don't know. I know Archie was much softer in Archie Bunker's Place. I mean, I don't know what logic.
Yeah, and also there was a lot of programming that didn't fit into the top or the bottom of their list.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what was the deal with the NBC movies. I guess he doesn't like the film. Soap got a lot of controversy because, again, this is Billy Crystal's first big role. He applied out for Saturday Night Live. He didn't get it, but he got Soap. And Soap, he played a gay character. Now, of course, Billy Crystal in real life isn't gay, but his character was, and people were going crazy. And also, Soap was a comedy show about soap operas. And so they have a lot of characters sleeping around and committing adultery, that sort of thing, doing a parody of soaps. And the religious type decided that it's the worst thing they've ever seen in their lives. Yeah. Vegas was about a detective. I don't know why they hated that. They have plenty of cop detective type shows on, so I don't know what was going on there. You know about Three's Company. I don't know what the deal with Fantasy Island. And if Fantasy Island's on there, why not Love Boat? Because Fantasy Island is basically a love boat on an island where, people meet. On Love Boat, they meet and they fall in love, quotes. Fantasy Island, they come up with fantasies for people who then wind up falling in love or whatever the plot line needed to be on that particular episode. So I don't know why that was the poorest quality, unless there was something else going on at the time that I just don't remember.
Alrighty. Well, the author of this op-ed says that the PTA is missing the point entirely, because television is a passive medium that requires no effort from the consumer, resulting in brainwashing laziness. The author closes with this: television should be considered by parents exactly as is ice cream. Fun and enjoyable in proportion, but an unqualified and unmitigated evil when consumption is not strictly rationed.
Evil might be a little strong, but I get what...
Unmitigated evil, much less.
But I understand, yeah, just too much of it is bad for you, just like ice cream. Ice cream is delicious, but if you eat too much, you're going to get sick.
Yep.
Too much television, it's not the best. You really get your kids out, and yourself out, go out and do other things besides just sit in front of a box all day. That makes sense. We say the same thing about computers, about the internet.
Yeah.
Go out and touch grass. And before that, people used to say things about radio. Every century, we come up with a new device and decide, people are indulging in it too much, which is actually usually true.
But also not the world-ending catastrophe that anybody makes it out to be.
No.
Because the world is still here.
Yes, the world doesn't end because the kids are listening to the rock and roll music.
And finally, without a decent segue, let's talk about cabbies.
Sure.
Joe, give us our last headline from the Evening Express of Portland, Maine.
The law where cabbies city split.
The rules and regulations around cabs and limousine services vary wildly from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. In New York City, cabs must accept credit card payments and must use meters. Just across the river here in Jersey City, neither of those things are true. Or at least, you wouldn't know it if they were. Every cab from Journal Square, save one, only takes cash, and every single one has a non-functioning meter on the dash.
Oh, I don't think that's legal.
I mean, I don't complain, because I know that from Journal Square to my house, and it's been this way for years, is $5. So I give the guy 10, and they've never complained. And they usually say thank you. So I know that I'm still giving a good tip to fare ratio if I hand them a $10 bill.
Sure.
In Portland, Maine, the rules governing those services were, at least in 1981, many and varied, and almost none were being enforced because the entire enforcement division was one solitary guy with no budget. That's the story.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about heavy metal.
Let's do that. So, this film has 10 directors listed in the credits.
We're not reading them.
We're not reading them. But one of those directors was on a show previously. He did the cartoon segment for Mrs. Doubtfire, and that's Barry Nelson.
Okay.
This movie also has 13 writers listed in the credits. We're not reading them. But two of them, Daniel Goldberg and Lynn Bloom, did write Stripes, which we saw for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Daniel Goldberg and Lynn Bloom also wrote Meatballs, which I saw as a wee bit of a young man many moons ago.
Okie doke.
Okay, blurbs. IMDb says, a glowing green orb that embodies ultimate evil terrorizes a young girl with an anthology of bizarre and fantastic stories. It's weird that evil wasn't on television. Would have been good.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube says, based on the fantastical illustrated magazine Heavy Metal, producer Ivan Reitman enlists the help of some of Hollywood's animation masters to create the otherworldly tale of a glowing green orb from outer space that spreads destruction throughout the galaxy. Only when encountered by its one true enemy, to whom it is inexplicably drawn, will goodness prevail throughout the universe. Richly and lavishly drawn, the vignettes of the orb's dark victories include the character voices of John Candy, Hal Ramis, and a pounding soundtrack by Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, Cheap Trick, Devo, Donald Fagen, Don Felder, Grand Funk Railroad, Sammy Hagar, Journey, Nazareth, Stevie Nicks, Riggs, and Trust. Highly imaginative and full of surprising special effects, Heavy Metal set the standard for the alternative contemporary animation, an intoxicating experience not to be missed.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. Before we get into the characters, do you recognize those bands? Do you know any of them?
Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, Cheap Trick, Devo, Sammy Hagar, Journey, Nazareth, Stevie Nicks. So the only ones I didn't really recognize were Donald Fagen, Don Felder. Wow. Those are two very similar. I'm pretty sure I've heard of Grand Funk Railroad. Whatever. Most of them, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Even Blue Oyster Cult.
Yep.
All right. Curious. Wonder if they were before your time. Because I thought you were a baby when this came out.
Yeah.
Literally. Not even. I'm not even joking about that. Okay. Characters. I want to read the credits of people George and I know. Okay. So, Death Sergeant, Dan, Din, and Robot are all voiced by John Candy. For the podcast, we know Mr. Candy from Spaceballs, Uncle Buck, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Cool Runnings, Home Alone, Little Shop of Horrors, 1986, Splash, and Blues Brothers. And I know him from JFK and Volunteers and 1941.
And I know him from National Lampoon's Vacation.
Stern, Male Reporter, and Edsel are all voiced by Eugene Levy. For the podcast, we know him from American Pie and Multiplicity. And I saw him in The Ladies' Man.
And once again, I know him from National Lampoon's Vacation and also Serendipity.
Lawyer and General, those were the characters' names, are voiced by Joe Flaherty. For the podcast, we see Mr. Flaherty in Happy Gilmore and Stripes. And I know him also from 1941.
And I know him from Back to the Future Part 2 and Freddy Got Fingered.
Regolin? Golian?
Yeah, something.
Regolin is voiced by Douglas Kenny. And for the podcast, we see Mr. Kenny in National Lampoon's Animal House. And I know him from Caddyshack. Okay, so let me just get into the plot here. Hey, did you guys watch our Frozen episode? If you did, you remember I complimented that film on centering the women, not having the girls exist just so the guys can be heroes.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be saying that about this movie.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. This is an anthology film, meaning there's more than one story being told, and I'm using the word story very loosely. The picture, after an opening sequence that reminded me of stuff you used to see on MTV, MTV stood for Music Television, and it once was a cable station dedicated to showing music videos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That particular format no longer exists today.
That particular channel no longer exists today.
I think the channel actually is still around.
It closed.
I looked it up. Yeah, it said it was
Really?
closed, but then I looked and it says MTV is still running, but now they're just doing long form stuff. I don't know. I stopped watching it years ago. People can look it up if I'm wrong. Right in. Anyway, getting into the movie. Our first story starts with this green bowl from outer space that an astronaut father brings home to his daughter in a suitcase. He's killed when he opens that suitcase. If you heard our discussion of Repo Man, then just know the father dies the same way people die in that movie. He opens the case and is incinerated. This is a very old film trope, and I believe the first time ever seeing that in a film was 1955's Kiss Me Deadly. Anyway, the green bowl tells the girl that it's the sum of all evil, and then proceeds to tell her the remaining stories we will see in the movie. Why? I don't know. Guess so we can have a movie, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Also, if you're wondering, no, the girl does not have a name. The father does. He's Grimaldi. She is just listed in the credits as Girl. This should really tip you off on who this film is for. But if it doesn't, keep listening. You'll figure it out. So, our next story is about a New York City cab driver in the year 2031. What they show of the city is actually what Fox News viewers think New York City is like today. Only, no Muslim mayor. Or people of color. No, I take that back. This picture is full of people of color, but that color happens to be green or red or what have you. The main real-life skin color represented throughout the flick is the same one shared by my co-host.
Yep.
Anyway, the hero of the story is named Harry Canyon. As I said, he drives a cab in a hellscape New York City. One day, he rescues a woman being pursued by thugs who are after the green bowl, which she has. Her father had it, but he's murdered, so she is now the only one in possession of it. After Harry saves her from her father's killers, they go to the police. The police are corrupt and not interested in solving crime, so Harry decides to take the woman. Her name is... wait! She also doesn't have a name. But you know what she does have? Tits and a bushy vagina. How do I know that? Because the film shows me that's why. In fact, I'm going to see an awful lot of breasts and bush throughout this entire flick. Animated naturally. It's as if this film was made by horny white dudes for horny white dudes. We'll discuss that later. Back to the synopsis. Harry and this woman with no name have sex because movie. Later on, she decides to hand over the green bowl after all. She and Harry have a deal to give it to the gangster pursuing her, but for a price. They hand it over, they get the money. The green ball kills the gangster. The couple drive off in Harry's cab. The nameless woman then decides, for no good reason that I could think of, to betray Harry and keep the money for herself. So Harry deploys a device we saw earlier used to kill a would-be robber to misogyny. I'm sorry, no, I mean to disintegrate her. No, I meant the same thing. Next story. This one involves a nerdy teenager who encounters the green ball and is sent to another dimension where he inhabits the body of Din, an adult male with huge muscles. He's also naked, but don't worry, full frontal nudity is only for the ladies. He covers himself up. Din then witnesses a woman being sacrificed. He rescues her. Now, as we all know, if you help a woman, that means you're entitled to sex. So this woman, who for once does have a name, it's Catherine, she starts to bang what is technically still a teenage boy. They are interrupted by a bunch of ape-like creatures, I guess? I'm not sure. Catherine and Din are then taken to Arid, their leader. Arid has Catherine put into a glass case where she is asleep and Din is assigned to get the green bowl for Arid. If he does that, the couple will be freed. On his mission, Din meets the Queen, who has the green bowl. Queen at first tries to kill Din, but changes her mind and decides she'd really rather fuck him. And so they have what is called, in most states in the US, statutory rape. While they are doing the nasty, Arid's men invade. As Arid and the Queen struggle over the green bowl, they get transported. Din thinks they went to Earth, but the movie doesn't specify that's what happened to them. Anyway, now free, Din and Catherine ride off into the sunset. Next story. This one involves a Captain Stern who is on trial for, and I quote, murder, rape, piracy, fraud, armed theft, and a movie violation. That last one is obviously there as a joke, not by me, but by the movie.
Right.
The captain isn't concerned about the charges against him because he paid off the witness against him, a guy named Hanover Fist.
And one witness. There's one witness to all of his crimes. Evidently.
Hanover, for some reason, has the green ball with him, and as he testifies, it forces him to tell the truth about the captain and what a douchebag he is. Hanover then turns into the Hulk?
Sure.
Hanover then chases Captain Stern. When Stern is cornered, he pays Hanover off, which causes Hanover Fist to revert back to his non-Hulk form. Stern then opens a trapdoor, which sends Fist plummeting into space. Now, you might be wondering, What happened to the sex and nudity in that story? Sorry, this one only had boys in it, so none of that happened. Moving on. This next story also has no girls, no sex, and no nudity. But in a change of pace, it's now the dudes who have no name. They are just the pilot and the co-pilot. This appears to be set during World War II. These two men have just completed a mission that leaves the rest of the crew dead. The green ball then shows up, turns the dead crew into zombies. They kill the co-pilot, but the pilot saves herself by parachuting to safety. Unfortunately, on the ground, there are more zombies. We don't see what happens to the pilot, but presumably he is killed. Our next story does have a woman in it, so the sex and nudity are back. But this segment doesn't have a straight A to B story.
No, this is like the other ones were okay. I could kind of see how they were related to a theme of evil and whatnot. This one? What?
Right, what? Okay, so we start off with a Dr. Arnok going to a meeting at the Pentagon to assure the military that aliens aren't real. The green ball is around the neck of a secretary. She is the only woman in the room. Suddenly, the doctor is overcome with lust and basically sexually assaults this woman. At the same time, a spaceship appears over the building and sucks up the doctor and Gloria, the secretary. The doctor is killed. The people who beam them up are a nameless robot and two aliens named Edsel and Zeke. As you can probably guess by now, Gloria decides to have sex. In this case, she has sex with the robot. Later, they will agree to get married. Meanwhile, Edsel and Zeke snort what isn't labeled as cocaine, but is very much cocaine, and nearly crash the spaceship.
And that's it. Like, that's it. They get high and do a bad parking job. That's it. That's I don't know what the green orb was doing in this scene. Like, it nothing.
It turned on the guy, and so she could assault the woman.
Sure, but that had nothing to do with the aliens. Like, the aliens
had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, yeah.
The penultimate story involves a bunch of aliens under attack and calling for a warrior to save them. That warrior is Tarna. Tarna is a naked woman. This means that before she can save anybody, we can watch her slowly get dressed. Once she does arrive, everyone is dead. She tracks down some of the killers to a bar, or maybe she goes to a bar for information. I'm not sure.
I mean, both.
Okay.
She recognizes that there are beasts from the town that got destroyed because of a symbol that's on them. Like, how did these things get here? Goes in there and sees these green dudes. Because all the bad guys in this particular part of the story are green.
Right.
And they're like beating up the locals. So she puts herself in a situation where they're going to want to sexually assault her. And then she beheads them all.
Yep, she beats them up. And she takes the sword she is carrying and cuts everyone's head off.
And then the bartender's like, the bad guys went that way, and points them to the Green Mountain where the orb is huge and making a volcano that turned a bunch of people into weird alien monsters.
She then takes her flying dinosaur?
Uh-huh. Sure.
I think it's a dinosaur. Not sure. She eventually tracks down the actual killers or more killers. Either way, she gets captured.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, she faces off against the main bad guy. He nearly kills her, but she ultimately wins. She then flies into a volcano, which the green ball has become. Let me repeat that. The green ball is now a green volcano. The volcano warns her that trying to kill it won't work. She ignores this, goes straight into the green lava, and destroys the volcano. And finally, the movie ends where it began, with the little girl being terrorized by the green ball. Only it seems that Tarna's attack has had an effect on it. The green ball explodes, but the girl manages to escape. The flying dinosaur that Tarna was riding is waiting for the little girl. The girl gets on it and flies away, seemingly forgetting that she had just witnessed her father being killed right before her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The end. Oh, that was long enough for you, George. Anything you want to add?
Yes, that was long enough for me. I don't want to add anything to it. I want to forget that I ever saw this.
Don't give away how we feel.
But that being said, killer soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack on this movie was absolutely amazing. Fucking fan. Even the orchestral stuff was like really, really good. The rest of it can fucking go fuck itself. Do you think that the green orb was like some kind of weird metaphor for weed?
I think there's a strong chance that there was a lot of weed smoked during the editing, creating, directing, and writing of this picture. But was it supposed to stand for weed? I have no idea. I don't know what any of this is about. It was incredibly reductive and stupid, which can be fine for a cartoon if it's funny enough or adventurous enough. But this is just, and I know this film has its fans, as does any sort of awful film. This is, I didn't get it. I didn't enjoy it. I mean, we're not even going to have a discussion about it, for God's sake.
I mean, I had
back and forth.
This was another one I had to watch in 3 segments, but that's only because I was super busy. And the only time I had to watch it was on public transit. And this is a really, really hard movie to watch on public transit because you can't watch it while there's anybody sitting next to you, on the off chance that they glance over and see that you're watching it, and then you have to apologize. So
born or something.
Yeah, so I had to wait until like there was nobody sitting next to me on the bus. And so I got to watch it in 3 days in half-hour spurts.
Yeah.
And I use the word spurts on purpose.
Advisedly, yes. It wastes a lot of good talent, I know that. And the animation is pretty good. I wasn't as in love with the soundtrack as you were, but yeah, whatever, who cares? I'm not a big music person. And had it only been the music and just the visuals, maybe it would have been a good film. That script is just fucking awful.
Yeah. Oh my God. No. Just all of it. Terrible. They maybe had something in the World War II zombie one. Like that one could have actually gone somewhere. But no, just nothing makes sense. That last story, the orb prefaces it like it has the girl cornered, and it says, "You're the only one that can destroy me, which is why I need to kill you, but I need you to understand me first." Okay, Joker. It prefaces that whole Tarna story with, "And this is how your entire species dies," but they don't. Yep. Even in that movie, even in that story, they're like, a couple of assholes end up in the town, but the rest of that town is still there.
Yeah, the whole thing makes no sense. And if you're going to have it in space, why not just keep it in space? Why the cab driver story? That had nothing to do with space. Why is he even there?
Why is a question nobody asked at any point in any of this movie.
I do appreciate, though, that the film is set 5 years from now. At least that section of it, the cabbies.
Oh, God, 2031, yeah.
That's pretty funny. Like, yeah, sure. New York will be just like that. Good work.
There was one illegal aliens as the cops are like dragging away a little extraterrestrial, and I'm like, I kind of snorted a little bit.
That's a good joke.
At the one joke.
Yeah, I agree. That does work. But the rest of the film, I think we both agree, does not work.
No. Whatever it was trying to do, it didn't. Unless it was trying to make no sense. In which case it succeeded wildly.
I think what it was trying to do was do a version of the Heavy Metal magazine, and the Heavy Metal magazine it was really written for boys. Let's face it, generally white boys, although I guess any boys do. And it's just like, here's some tit, here's some bush, because we know you can't get Playboy, you're too young. So here's this for you. And they're like, hey, look at this. And it's a cartoon, so mom and dad won't notice what I'm sure many a parent bought this thing thinking it was just a comic book. Or let the kids use the money and consider the table, reading it, not realize, unless the parent actually looks, but they probably wouldn't. Like, hey, I got all this great tit and ass, right?
Hey, national level PTA, got a new job for you.
Yes. I'm going to get the PTA on this. Honestly, the film's only 90 minutes. We're not going to go longer than the film, so we both said it doesn't work. Let's move on. What's up next, buddy?
All right. This was a Patron's Choice episode, and the patrons left it at a tie. Joe actually was like, go with heavy metal. I'm kind of glad he did, because we needed to see, because the rest of this animation month has been at least fairly easy for me. This one was painful.
Even though I didn't like necessarily.
You're not going to talk about that right now because we haven't released those episodes yet.
I'm just going to say that some of them I didn't like. The ones we've seen so far have all been superior to this. So
yes,
so far been the worst one.
I think even the one you didn't like was better than this.
Oh my God, by leaps and bounds. In fact, if I was forced to see this first and that, I would take back everything I said. Oh my God. I had no idea how bad it could get. I'm so sorry, movie. I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
Alrighty. So, yeah, Joe, you tell us, talk about what's up next.
This was a Patron's Choice episode, and the poll for next month's film is already up on Patreon. The choices are Kramer vs. Kramer from 1979, Peggy Sue Got Married from 1986, and Lars and the Real Girl from 2007.
What's the theme there, Joe?
It's love, divorce, and...
Nope.
What was my theme? What did I write?
Marriage, divorce, and something in between.
Yes, marriage, divorce, something in between. So Kramer vs. Kramer is about divorce. Peggy Sue Got Married is about a woman whose marriage is falling apart, but she goes back in time to see if she can undo the thing that made her marriage fall apart. And Lars and the Real Girl is about this very lonely man who decides he's going to use a sex doll as his girlfriend. And he does it in a small town, so all his friends support him in this. I think I've never seen the film. This is from memory. In fact, none of these films. Oh no, I say Kramer vs. Kramer, but the rest of these films I've never seen. So it should be. I assume you don't know any of these.
None. I think I've heard of Kramer versus Kramer. I may have heard of Peggy Sue Got Married. Never heard of Lars and the Real Girl.
There is a really big star in Lars and the Real Girl. This may be one of his.
I mean, there's a lot of movies with very big stars that I've never heard of. So
yes, I'm just gonna say this may either was his first film or one of his first films. And can you guess who that is?
No, I can't, Joe.
He's in a movie right now that
doesn't help.
Box office. Okay, it's Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling is in this picture.
Yeah, I never would have gotten there.
He's Lars. I think he's Lars. Anyway, he's the star of the movie. I know that. Okay. And if you want to vote but are not a Patreon, you can fix that by becoming one at patreon.com/DTSWpod. Now, George, what's up next?
Next week, we're talking about South Park. Bigger, longer, and uncut from 1999.
Indeed, we are. I could ask, have you seen this? But we already had that discussion.
Yep.
And now you've definitely seen it because we reviewed it. So I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romaka. Thanks for listening indeed. Because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaka. This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others because that still works.
He's Grimaldi.
Grimaldi.
He's Grimaldi.
Grimaldi.
He's Grimaldi.
Grimaldi. Dear Dr. Blaker, my daughter, who attends one of those fancy colleges in the East, is always talking about how women need more power. Dear Dr. Blaker, my wife just left me and took the kids with her. Dear Dr. Blaker, This is the most Reddit-y one of these. I am trying to break up with my girlfriend in a way that won't hurt her because I do like her as a person and I hope to remain her friend after all this is over.